Okay, guys, here we are with 470 asbestos. As I said, this is a separate analysis. I'm going to get straight into it. Now, obviously, you spend a lot more time basing this on a sales site. It's actually really engaging. Like I said in the group site, having this above the fold and straight in your face is actually really good. So there's a whole lot more going on for this site that's really positive and well done on making it what it is. There's a few little missed opportunities. These banners, hey, it's a really strong message and positioning statement you've got here on this. However, what's the next step? Hey, get a quote. Lead the user into where you want it to go with a call to action button. This would not normally just be text in an image. You'd have text that is scannable by Google. This is actually locked in an image. So plenty of opportunity there for more calls to action, like free quote now, not just the quote word in your menu item. This is really good. But again, says below the fold for me. May not be below the fold for larger screens, but I'm on a laptop. And you can see that, it's below the fold. But there's some good content here. Good connections. This builds trust. The process is self-explanatory. Your projects are on the home page, which is great, a bit of a feed of that. These projects are actually quite old, however, so you might want to try and grab some new new projects. This overall is actually quite a solid website. So well done. It just needs some fresh content. So let's have a look at some of the detail around this. Let's just have a quick look at the source. So the title is quite good. Commercial license asbestos removal Brisbane. So look, I would just go asbestos removal Brisbane as the first keywords here. This is interesting. Sunshine Coast and then jump into suburbs. That's not necessarily. I'd be more tempted to go Brisbane North, Brisbane South. Those maybe a bit more broader with those terms there. Again, this is 470 asbestos provides safe, cost-effective license. That's a little bit verbose for a description. I'd be much more keyword-centric there to give you a boost. What would really work well on this page is news and blog and facts presented in a blog-style format that's fresh to the page. When Google comes to scan your site regularly, if it finds fresh content, it will come back and scan your site more often, therefore promoting it more often. So, you can really focus that a little bit more. The quote process is, I like your automated approach. I commend the fact that you've gone it through a step process in the forms, capturing all the information. We've done a bunch of stuff in the finance game where we either have like a quick form or a long form. And the quick form, not everyone wants to fill in a long form. Perhaps they just want a phone call back. So I know it's probably a way of screening your inquiry, but if you can get an inquiry through and get a response back to the user within 5 minutes, then you're more likely going to convert with a long form and responding in 3 hours or 4 hours or the next day. So it really helps to shorten those response times down to really short times. You may need more call center kind of work or that sort of thing. I did notice when this site first launched that a pop-up came up, which was actually really good, but I closed it quickly, so I haven't really seen what that is. However, you've got a lot more content here, and that's kind of reflective of your page 4 performance in organic search, but you could, let's see what some of these guys are doing for River City, number 1 for asbestos removal Brisbane. What sort of content do they have rolling? So all of a sudden, yeah, you see call to action, get a quote, do you need safe asbestos? They've got an emotional image attached to keeping your family safe, etc. Residential, commercial, there's lots of content. Here's some changing content. They've actually got a Google feed of their reviews, which would make a difference as well. Their blog, I reckon, would be pretty fresh. No, it's not that fresh, actually. So 2017. But you can see everything about their news feed is about asbestos. So this is the same with your other site as well. You can go lots of content, regular content around commercial building, or in your asbestos site, do regular content about asbestos. It'll make a huge difference. Let's take a look at some of your domain stats like we did on the other site. So this is a brief snapshot of what you're listing for in organic search results. So asbestos testing Sunshine Coast, you're position 18. Anything asbestos Sunshine Coast, you're 25, so page 3. Asbestos removal Sunshine Coast, you're bottom of page 3. Asbestos testing Brisbane, you're end of page 3, start of page 4 probably. So yeah, again, lots and lots of opportunity there to really grow your organic reach online. Some of this gives you an indication, your advertising display is being picked up and driving traffic. Hopefully your conversion numbers of those are making a difference. You've got some backlinks going on, and that's mainly those backlinks are coming from 470 Group. But you've got some keywords related to, asbestos insurance, asbestos Brisbane, that sort of thing, which is really, really good. Your main competitors, if you have a look here, asbestoslogic.com.au, asbestos Sunshine Coast. Let's have a look at that full report and see how that rolls. The reason why I tend to focus a little bit more than on paid ads and focus on organic search is because once you get the site bubbling and positioned, then the rest starts to look after itself. So your ads, you won't necessarily need as many ads because you've got good content on your site and you're listing for asbestos. I would say if you really, really focused on good content, you'd actually rank quite well for asbestos removal. With lots of topics, lots of content you do there. So there's your competitors as SEMrush sees it at least. Asbestoslogic.com.au, Sunshine Watch. So there's there's heaps of competitors, but there's only a couple dominating the overall scene. So you can really go head to head against those if you really wanted to. I've already had a look at your code. That's one of your competitors. Let's have a look at so you may not have a separate Facebook group for asbestos, 470 asbestos. If you're going to drive and do lots of reviews, for example, in Google, which I reckon you should do, then it could pay to have your own social profile and its own group of projects, etc., within the 470 asbestos page. That can be quite powerful. Yeah, look, I think let's have a quick look actually at mobile. So yeah, okay, this isn't too bad, but you can see your popover's launched here because of a new browser. But you've got a kind of odd thing displaying, not the whole call to action isn't actually displaying, and your key button that you want is below the fold and lost. So, you might get quite a few inquiries there. I'd need to have a look at some of your other stats, but I would think maybe people might want to find out a little bit more about you before you throw a "hey, get a quote now" in the face. So you could lead the user a little bit more with your user experience, or we call UX, into that space. So I think your menu, your key things, a little bit too many options here. You could really straighten this out into more of a user flow to really encourage that purchase and lead flow into how you wanted to engage the user, and shuffle that around. But your ads must be working if you're driving the ads through the site, which is great. You may be paying a little bit too much for the ads, but let's have a look at that at a later time. So that's a high level look at your ranking in social, your UX on the page, which is a lot better for the Asbestos site. Nice above the fold, call to action, your phone numbers easily accessible and viewable. You could lead the user through a quote process, and you could test a short form on the home page or in your call to action, or a landing page for your ads. So yeah, let's have a talk about that at a later date. So thanks very much, guys. We'll talk soon.